In this video, we're going to show you how to replace a right front axle on your Honda Pilot. Let's get started. Using a 19mm socket, remove the 5 lug nuts. Remove the wheel. Using a 12mm socket, remove the bolt for the brake line bracket. And remove the line out of the bracket. Using a 10mm socket, you're going to remove the bolt out of the ABS bracket on the back of the strut. Using a 36mm socket, remove the axle nut. Push on the end of the axle, make sure it's free in the hub. If it's not free, use a soft-faced hammer and hit the end, or you can use a metal punch and a metal hammer and hit on the inside of that little pin. That's what we're looking for. Using a 17mm socket, remove the 2 bolts holding on the caliper bracket. Remove the caliper and hang it on a hook off to the side where there's going to be no tension on the hose. Using a 24mm wrench to hold the head of the bolt, we'll use a 22mm socket to remove the nut. Do this on both top and bottom. Remove the bottom and top bolt. Using a pry bar or a flat blade screwdriver, pull the knuckle out of the strut assembly. We're going to pull the knuckle forward, and as we pull the knuckle forward, we're going to push the axle shaft through it. I'm going to use a punch and a hammer to help me push this axle out of the hub. Remove the axle. Using a pry bar, we're going to go up through the bottom, and we're going to get on the shoulder of the axle, and we're going to pop this out of our transmission. Get the axle separated, and then pull it straight out. Install the axle, line the splines up. Then using a soft face hammer, we're going to hit the axle onto the stub. Until it fully seats. Once it's fully seated, remove the axle nut off the end. Install the axle into the hub. Line the splines up. Make sure the axle comes through the front of the hub. Then we'll push the knuckle into the strut assembly. Line the bottom bolt and the knuckle up with the strut and get the bolt started. Then we're going to insert the top one. Put one hand at the top of the rotor, push towards the car, and then install your bolt. Get the top and bottom nuts started. Torque the strut to knuckle bolts to 116 foot-pounds. Install the axle nut. Using a pry bar to hold the studs, we're going to torque our spindle nut to 210 foot-pounds. Using a hammer and a punch, we're going to stake the axle nut. Pull the caliper off the hook. or wherever you have it placed. Install it onto the rotor. And get the bolt started. Snug the bolts down. Torque the caliper bracket bolts to 101 foot-pounds. Install the brake line bracket and get the bolt started. Snug it down. Install the ABS bracket onto the strut and get the bolt started. Snug the bolt down. Install the wheel. Get the lug nuts started. Snug the lug nuts down. Torque the lug nuts to 80 foot-pounds in a star pattern. Once you're done with this job, take your car to a local shop and have them do an alignment.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.